Well, I did not want to make this video. I have a cousin. His name is Ebby Butler Jr. Everybody calls him Jazz. He's well known as Jazz Butler. I've done some work for him for on and off, just a little bit here and there, because he don't pay me very much at all for the past few years. Well, we was there working one day, and the guy, he had up on a roof painting. The guy fell off a roof and fell three stories, and hurt himself bad. Pretty much the guy was done for. He lived for a while until he had a heart attack 3 years later. But the guy sued Jazz and won a lot of money. But one thing, that was never mentioned, that I probably should have brought up, is when the guy fell, I ran past Jazz as Jazz was running away from the guy. The guy was on the ground behind the house. Jazz was running toward the front. I get back there and I'm asking the guy, I'm like, "Are you okay? What can I do?" He's like, "Everything's broke. My legs, my back, my arms, my ankles, my knees. Everything this guy had's broke. He's in bad shape. He had to be airlifted out." And so I get the guy as comfortable as possible, and I run back up the hill, and Jazz is, just kind of pacing back and forth, saying, "What do I do? What do I do?" I said, "You called the ambulance, right?" He said, "No, I'm too scared to. I don't know what to do." I said, "Jazz, you've got to call the ambulance right now. Call the ambulance." He said, I can't get my phone to work. I can't get my phone to work." I said, "Jazz, your phone is got full bars. Call him. Call the ambulance now." And I went to reach for it, and he wouldn't give me the phone. So, finally, my phone was charging in the upper building. I was getting ready to run up there to get it, but I was like, it's going to take too long. So I turned around, and I just grabbed Jazz's phone out of his hand. And I ran to the top of the driveway, because we did have spotty service, so I wanted to make sure it didn't cut out. But Jazz's phone, had good service the whole time. I call, and the ambulance gets out there, talks to everybody, airlift the guy out of there. He had, I don't know how many surgeries. One thing, Jazz did offer the guy a harness, but he did not require him to wear it. There was a harness on the porch. The guy said, "I don't need it," and didn't wear it. That was his own fault. Jazz did have one, but Jazz did not make him wear it. He didn't even tell him to put it on that day or nothing. But he had made us aware there's a harness, because he knew I was scared of heights. So he knew if I was going up high, I needed the harness. So the guy, after his surgeries and stuff, he sues Jazz. I go in and I speak to, I guess it was the lawyers, give my testimony on what happened and all that. And I felt at the time, especially Jazz being my cousin, me wanting to have his back through this, I feel Jazz having the harness available made him not that liable. I felt like it was on that guy. Well, then a couple of years later, the guy died of a heart attack. And when I seen Jazz's reaction, he claims to be a big Christian man, and strong belief in God and right and wrong, and Well, he was happy as could be once he heard this guy died, you know. There wasn't a bit of, I don't think there was a bit of sadness in his heart. Because once the guy died, it meant he didn't have to pay him no more. So, you know, Jazz was just tickled. He was, you know, it was a good day for him. Fella's in the ground. Jazz's money's in his pocket where he wants it to be. And I find out that, you know, Jazz had been stalking these people, stalking David, the guy that died. He'd been stalking him for months on his own, just spending probably thousands of hours stalking this guy's house, illegally setting up cameras to watch his residence, you know, and sitting outside their house. Even after the guy died, Jazz went up there and stalked these people. Alright, I dropped the phone and I hit the end button. So this is going to have to be, I don't know, I have to get my wife to fix it, or it's just going to have to be a 2-video deal. Watch the longer one first, I guess. But, so Jazz, you know, has stalked these people. He's probably made their life a living hell, because, you know, his almighty God, his everything is his money. Which I found out after a few years of working with him. Then this past week, you know, I went out, you know, and done some more work for him, which, you know, he done a lot of stuff, you know, under the table, you know, no taxes on it, you know, just pay your cash under the table, nobody needs to know nothing, which I don't mind. You know, that's fine with me. I don't want to turn in what little bit of money I make to the government either. But, you know, him being, you know, a business owner of sorts, you know, that's not, it's not a good look on him. And so me and my stepson, 14-year-old stepson, go out there, and we had about 5 hours to work. We got there at 9:51, because, you know, I got an app on my phone that, you know, shows when I arrived somewhere, when I left somewhere, you know, and I had that proof that we was there at 9:51. We had to be somewhere else at 3:30, so we left Jazz's house at 3:11. So a little over 5 hours. I told him we had 5 hours worth of work. Well, he only, you know, he wants to short us and only pay us for about 2.5 hours each. You know, which I'm like, what is the deal? What's going on, you know, with you today? And, you know, and then I explain it to him, tell him the exact times I had. And he admits, you know, through the text, oh, you're right. I owe you 5 hours. You're right. So it takes me 3 days of texting and calling. You know, I'm like, you know, I'd like to have that money, you know, because usually, you know, the way it works with him is you pay me when I get off work that day. You either wire it to me, Cash App, you know, whatever, or you hand me the cash. Well, he, you know, didn't have it on him that day. He said, I'll send it within the hour. Well, 3 days later, when I'm finally down there at his house, across from his house, because, you know, he wasn't answering and all that, and I told him I was coming to pick up my tools that I needed for some other work I was doing. He said, I put all your tools at the mailbox, and I put the check in the mailbox. Well, no check in the mailbox. Half my tools probably wasn't there. Of course, they're junk, cheap tools. I wasn't too concerned about it, but still, at least meet me there like a man, and we'll go through and make sure I got all my stuff. You pay me the money you owe me, and we get out of there. Well, he just flat out wouldn't do it. He eventually sent me I think he sent me $120. I said, well, I've got a few tools that I know is still there I need to get. Plus you owe me $20 more to make it even. It's not a lot of money. But after everything I've dealt with him and, stuff in the past, stuff, between our daddies and everything else, it's kind of the principle behind of you're going to pay me and you're going to pay my stepson who came over and worked his ass off on a shovel for you. Like, you're going to pay us every dime you owe us, is the way I feel about it. When I told him, Jazz, you've got some shady dealings that could be spoke about. All the work. I don't think he realizes how much money it will cost him to get inspections and proper building code, enforcement done on these two cabins that he's been working on for years. I hate to be the kind of guy that's like that, but I am. If you're going to screw me, I'm going to give it my all to make us even or get over on you even more. That's all I asked. Pay me for the one thing I know that's there. $23 shovel and $20 is all I ask from this man to even us out and make this even. Never hear from me again. Never see me again. $43, man. Just be a good person. Even though we all know you're not. Anybody that's close with you knows how greedy and how much money is everything to you. And yes, I applaud you. You've got way more of it than I do. I've been an idiot my whole life. And all the money I've made, I've pissed away. But he needs to make this right. And I've done it, done everything I can, to try to get him to square it up. But nothing has been heard yet. And of course, he gotta have a rebuttal of about, like a lot of times I'd say, hey, Jazz, I'll be down there on Tuesday. Well, Jazz pays me like $18 an hour when I got another job pop up that pays me $55 an hour. I'm going to that other job. So many times, I've had other responsibilities. Plus my wife, she almost passed away. She still, I still have to be at home a lot and take care of her. I've got a lot of things going on. So yeah, there's times I didn't show up whenever he wanted me to show up, and he'd say, no big deal, just whenever you can get here, you know. So he can throw that out there all he wants, but I never asked for a dime of money that I had not worked for. We had really no problem him paying me before. He may have shorted me an hour or two here and there, you know, just being greedy, and I'll let it go. But, you know, just this, after he said more disrespectful things about my father, and then him just, you know, screwing over a kid, 14-year-old, my stepson, you know, which, you know, I went ahead and gave him his money anyway, so he wasn't out nothing. I made sure of that, of course, but, and I'm just want to tell everybody, he ain't the good guy he portrays to be. Just cause you wear penny loafers and you show up at church on Sunday, and you got a little, you know, a little nice little nest egg, got you a house in Florida, it don't mean you're a good person. And when this is all over, the good Lord will decide. He will see right through that. He will know that there is not good in your heart. He will see the evil in your heart. He will see the good or evil in mine. I'm kind of in the middle of it, if I'm a good guy or bad guy. You know, I've never been a good guy, but you know, I'm trying hard to be a better guy, but I fall short every day. But I don't break the law. I try to work when I can, take care of my wife, 5 kids, do the best I can. And for this man to think that it was okay to do me like that, it really makes me angry. But hopefully before when I post this video, which, you know, some people might think this may not hurt his image or his credibility whatsoever, but a lot of people's gonna know it's gonna show what he is, what he's about. The way he acted when that boy fell off his roof and almost died, and the way he acted when that boy had a heart attack and passed away, told me everything I need to know about him. And how greedy he is to do us that way. When he's got so much money, that, you know, it wouldn't make a bit of difference. He's so greedy that he'd still try to get over on us like that. Oh, and you know, we just scrape by because of my life choices. But that's where we're at. It just tells me, you know, it's not a good guy. It's not the guy everybody thinks he is. But this might be the first ever video I post, and most likely the last.